All right, folks, how you doing? I am Johan. That with the puppies is and Mr. Hordichuk is Charleston. Today's guest joining us from beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona, from Kamsack, Saskatchewan, the one, the only Mr. Darcy Hordichuk. How you doing, Darcy?
Really good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt that.
Kamsack? Where the hell is that?
Well, I'll tell you what, if your body was a map, it's right on your armpit there. So, no, actually, it's a great place. You know what? We have a beautiful lake next to us. It's called Madge Lake. It's a small town, like 2,300 people. It's probably now 1,800, but yeah, just outside of Yorkton, like kind of, within 30 minutes of Yorkton, Kenora, right around there. So,
okay.
God's country. We call it God's country. But now that I live in Arizona, I realize Scottsdale's God's country, not Kamsack.
Sorry to interrupt you. You had a pedicure earlier on going on, and we were like, oh, the life of an NHL former enforcer now gets pedicures after in retirement. It must be nice.
You know what? I got such big calluses on the bottom of my heels that they're cracking. And my little guy, he's 8 years old, and I've been like taking my older 11-year-old to hockey tournaments all over the country. And I took my 8-year-old and we went and got a Halloween costume and then went for sushi. And I said, what else do you want to do? He said, let's go for a pedicure. So obviously his mom's had him out before. So we, but
like,
he wanted to get his toenails painted like Chuck Liddell black. And I was like, no, we're going to stop right there. This is good.
I like the way that you mentioned that, because I was just telling Charleston about, he goes, tell me something about Darcy. I said, okay, yeah, I'm reading your bio on Wikipedia there. And then all of a sudden it says, yeah, Hordichuk spent summer 2008 training with Chuck Liddell.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck? That was, how are you, what made you want to be able to get into, or how'd you know Chuck? And then how'd you start to be able to train with him?
You know what? It was funny. Some of the guys that I kind of had success in their career, I was always trying to like look for that cutting edge. So I trained with, I don't know if you remember Michael Moore in Florida at Warriors Gym, and Ray Mercer and all those different guys. And then I just kind of became friends with a few of the UFC fighters. They used to like come and watch our games. Randy Couture and Ken Shamrock and guys like that would come out to our games. And yeah, so then I like Chuck, when he was on that big spell there, you know, when he was knocking guys out, we just had a friend out in Calgary, or up in California in San Bonobispo, that said, hey, you know, I know head trainer there, would you want to come down? And it was funny, when I went down there, they thought I was one of these guys that was like a trainee where they just beat up on and they get them ready. And I was like, listen, you kick me in the shin or in the side of the leg, I am going down. Like, I need a ref. I need, like, this is not. And so we started to do these circles, and then we would spar each other. And Chuck Liddell has a brother. I don't know if you ever seen him in the octagon. This guy's like 6'8", and you know, they're like, Chuck's trainer is like, okay, like 40%. So you jab and you hit each other. Next thing you know, I'm like, that's not 40%. His brother like smoked me, almost broke my nose. It went from like what he thought was 40%. It was like 110%, both of us. And I hit him so hard, I caught him in the nose. There's blood leaking, and it just was like, okay, no, sorry. I'm just a guy that fights on the ice, and when I need to be broken up, I can call the ref in. But so it was a cool experience, but a little different from on ice to off ice.
I was about to say, so what the hell did you learn from them?
Shit, these guys were so funny. They're like, well, make sure when you take him down, you fall on top of him with your elbow and you smash his head on the ice. And I was like, no. The fans want to see you stand up. And they're like, okay, let's take your, like, use your, like a guillotine and try to choke him when he's standing up. And so these guys are choking me with a jersey on. And I'm like, no, I can't choke a guy on the ice. But if you see in one of my fights, I kind of did it earlier in my career where I learned a few tricks where I started to like grab guys' jerseys and start choking them at the same time as punching them. So there's kind of a couple little tricks that you learn, and then they're like, well, look at how I did this fight. He'd break down one of his fights, how he knocked the guy out. And I said, listen, if I throw that bomb like you did from your hip, I said, if I miss him, I'm going straight in the ice. And then Hockey Fights is going to say I lost the fight. So I can't do that, you know?
Yeah. It's like when you hockey fight, you always got to be balanced. And
exactly.
Yeah.
We had, Darcy, we had Charleston on skates for the first time ever. This year we took him out to Imperial, Saskatchewan they had a fundraiser for the rink, and Charleston got on the ice. And he sent the clip to Eberle, and Eberle was on the show, and Eberle was kind of making fun of his moves. But Charleston actually, for the first time for a football player going on the ice, he had 6 shootouts. He scored on one, and he hit the post on another.
Hey, you got me beat, brother. You got me beat. I'll tell you that much. Holy crap. Jeez. I feel like I'm getting PTSD every time I look at him. I feel like I see Brashear, Larocque, or Peter Worrell. Okay, I got to fight this guy. Here we go.
Speaking of that, I wanted to bring that up. Darcy, as a Saskatoon boy, I'm a Saskatoon boy too. I grew up at Holy Cross and went to U of S, and we probably crossed paths sometime when we were at the Pat or at Champs or some of the days back then and doing that. But, I was telling Charleston about how the fuck, reading your bio on Wikipedia, it says, in 2 years with the Saskatoon Blades, you had 12 goals, 33 points, as well as 279 penalty minutes. He had 515 penalty minutes in 129 games, including 73 fights with your 2 years with the Saskatoon Blades. Well, what point when you were growing up there, when you're a kid, going, man, maybe I'm going to be a fighter here, and this is the way to go?
Well, the point was when my dad never told me to keep my head up when I'm stick handling or told me to practice outside shooting pucks. So at that point, I was like, okay, I'm either going to work on the farm, chucking bales and, shoveling grain the rest of my life, or I got to fight to stay in the WHL. So, it's kind of crazy. You know what? Like, the reason I had so many fights is because I didn't get drafted as my 18-year-old year. Yeah. So guys like Goddard got drafted, Stephen Pete, Todd Fedoric, all those guys got drafted. So every time I'd play them, I was like, shit, I'm as tough as this guy. I'm going to fight this guy. Like, if he got drafted in the 3rd round, I could fight this guy. So I used to just fight these guys like every game. And then, when you're trying to establish a reputation early on, you got to fight everybody. And then, I think I was one of the top 5, with fights that one year and never got drafted. And I'll never forget, like, Brad McCrimmon, who was my coach, and basically he just said, Darcy, hang in there. You fought some of the toughest guys. And he called the Thrashers when I was 19 years old and just said, hey, listen, take this kid in the last round. Like, just give him a shot. He'll fight anybody. He'll do whatever it takes. And sure enough, they drafted me. Next thing you know, I went from never seeing an NHL game in my life to getting the call as a 20-year-old year. I wasn't even sure I was going to make the Blades as a 20-year-old, and here I'm in the NHL. So, yeah, and my first hit in my NHL career was one of the biggest hits of my career. It was on every Gatorade commercial. I hit Petrov coming around the net in against the Canadiens, and I literally back up, and I'm ready to drop my gloves. That's my little boy there.
Hey, how are
you? How them feet doing?
Get ready to drop my gloves, and I was like expecting somebody to fight, and nobody fought, and I was like, oh, okay, I got this. And just kind of ended up playing, I think, 12 or 13 games, and fought Probert twice, and fought Chara, and just kind of knew that I could either make $5,000 a month in the minors, or I could make $5,000 a day in the up in the NHL, dropping the gloves, and just kind of ended up taking that road. So
and now when you look back upon you played 13 years. I was telling Charleston, I was pointing out Charleston, I said okay, I know he played in beautiful cities, Atlanta, you're playing in Phoenix, Florida, Nashville, Vancouver, Edmonton. When you look back and you think,
beautiful cities. I don't know if Edmonton, I don't know if you call it Edmonton. You got to say that real fast.
Definitely not Edmonton. Just slip that one on by. Just forget
Charleston. Charleston's got Calgary and Regina and Philadelphia when he played with the Eagles on his resume.
So that is beautiful. You're right. Hey, I'll tell you a funny story. You're going to love this. So I'm trying to get, at the time, Ryan Suter to sign as a free agent in Edmonton. And I'm talking to the GM at the time, and they're like, hey, Darcy, you were roommates with him in Nashville. Is there a chance he's going to sign? And I'm like, dude, I think I got this. Let me call him. I'll get him to Edmonton. I'm trying to get myself a contract, right? And I'm talking to Kevin Lowe, and he's like, well, it doesn't sound like he wants to come here. And I'm like, Kevin, listen, I'm roommates with this kid. I got him. I called Suter. I go, hey, Suits, listen, good young team. Hall Eberle, awesome. You'll fit in. We're going to win the cup in a year or two. We need you. And he goes, I am not playing in Russia. And I was like, what are you talking about? Russia. I said, no, Edmonton, like the Oilers. And he goes, yeah, exactly. I'm not going to Edmonton. And I was like dying laughing. I'm like, okay. Kevin Lowe, he's like, hey, how was the conversation? I was like, oh, yeah, not bad. He goes, well, I didn't think it went good with, the people. I said, there might be a chance. I don't know yet,
So, I'm not playing in Russia.
Yeah.
That ended Ryan Suter's career in Edmonton. It was dead right there on that.
It was dead. Yeah. And you know what? My little guy loves Edmonton. I love Edmonton. The fans were great. It's a hockey city. We still, enjoy coming back there. So I don't want to bag on it too much.
No, but
everybody just like Hall. They don't like Edmonton. They just like Hall. Yeah, let's be serious. Hall leave Edmonton. Nobody's gonna like Edmonton no more.
Yeah, exactly.
It was funny with Rob Peterson, obviously our one of the sponsors for our show. We got the great signage back there. He's good friends with you. Robbie was telling me a funny story about when you're in Edmonton, Dallas Eakins gets hired as a coach, and so then he's big onto this food kick about, okay, you guys are now going to eat healthier, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And he told me a little something about, I'll let you finish off the story, Darcy, but if you remember it, about how you got assigned to be able to take care of Yakupov, the number 1 overall pick, Charleston, in the NHL. And Darcy gets assigned to it. And
so big money.
Yeah. And so the new coach comes in and says, okay, we're going to eat healthy. We're going to, we're going to be all healthy snacks from now on, blah, blah, blah. Darcy, is this somewhat right?
You know what? I knew Eakins from before this time. So Eakins just left. I had Tom Rennie and Ralph. So I just kind of missed Eakins, but the same kind of a story was with Ralph Kruger when he took over. Yeah. And Yakupov, just because we're both ADHD, 100 miles an hour, just go. Much like when Radulov, I get stuck with all these Russians, right? Like as soon as we'd land in like California, Radulov's like, we're going to Disneyland. I'm like, what do you mean Disneyland? He's like, no, I've always heard of Disneyland. Next thing you know, before the game, we're on all these rides. So Yakupov, I'm taking him around, driving him, trying to help him get his driver's license, like doing all this stuff. And we just had the time of our life. He's such a good kid. Obviously things didn't pan out, but we had so much fun together, and kind of helped them find a place and get settled in the city. And Robbie was saying
that you were supposed to be able to try and help him eat better and live a little bit better, and you were out taking him to like Tim Hortons for 12 donuts and coffee right before you.
Hey, listen, this kid, I would pick him up, and his routine was that pecan strudel. And I'd be like, dude, like, how is he getting away with this? But he had this whole routine, like he gets some donuts, this strudel. And I'm like, hey, who am I to say that this is not, you can't do this. This is unhealthy. He's a first overall pick. Yeah. He had more goals in one game than I did my whole career. And I can't sit there as he's ordering all this stuff. And I'm like, well, like it's different, in the NHL, like you take protein shakes. And he like looked at me like I was like crazy. And just, so what did I do? I just started eating what he ate and put on 10 pounds and had to work it off.
And that finished off your career with the Edmonton
Exactly.
Oilers.
It backfired. Yeah. He has pecan strudel, and he gets praised, and coach gets me with it, and I get scratched.
What do you remember about your career? About what were some of the moments when you were back in your early days, like you said, when you were playing in the NHL, and you're like, holy shit, I'm gonna fight Bob Probert, or I'm fighting Char, or I'm on the ice with Messier. Was there a few moments when you're like, I mean, Charleston, you probably had a few in the CFL, or when you were playing with the Eagles, or, doing that. But Darce, what were some of your moments when you're like, holy fuck, I'm a kid from Kamsack, and across the ice is this guy?
Yeah. You know what? I think my whole career was like surreal. I honestly, I thought I would probably make the NHL, but you don't realize how hard it is. And the next thing you're there and you're like, oh my gosh, is this my first game? Is this my last game? And it was like so surreal. All of a sudden, like you said, I'm dropping the gloves with Bobby Probert, and you could see the first time I fight him, I was scared to hit this guy. Like I was kind of ragdolling him and yanking him around and had him off balance. and I could have probably like stroked him probably 10 times. And I was just like, holy crap. I just went from fighting 16 and 17-year-olds, with the blades to fighting, somebody that I looked up to, and it's funny, like, I wasn't one of these guys that grew up and was like, I want to play in the NHL, or I just love collecting hockey cards. I really didn't have a favorite team. I didn't have a favorite player. I didn't even know Gordie Howe's son, Marty Howe, coached me for a year, in the minors. I didn't even really know who he was. Like, it was crazy. I just really just loved the camaraderie with the guys, loved, playing, never really watched the game that much. Grew up with two parents. My dad was an x-ray tech. My mom was a nurse. And, hockey really wasn't, it was more like street hockey, and things like that. But, when I was 20, all of a sudden, you realize, holy crap, this is the show, and you're there, and, just kind of a cool experience. And, I still try to look back. My life is so fast paced, and I just kind of reflect. And, my wife just made me this cool book with, my whole career. And I think, in the last month, I've probably reflected more having kids playing hockey than I did my whole career. It's just like, it just happens, right? Your summers, you're like training, you're there with hockey. It's just go, go, go. And I mean, Charleston, you probably can, say the same thing.
I definitely can contest to that. Cause I guess maybe because I was kind of the same way, because I really didn't pay attention to football when I was like coming through high school. When I didn't play till I was late anyway, so I didn't start football till I was like 11th grade in high school. But, playing like 11th and 12th grade, I didn't realize that at the time when I played in high school, I played with like 15 Division I athletes on my high school football team.
Yeah.
So, and then it was like, and it really I didn't comprehend to the fact that I was around that many like primetime athletes, and all these guys played college football and started in Michigan State, Illinois, like all these big Division I schools. And I ended up just going to this little itty bitty tiny school in the woods, and then started to understand, like, holy shit, I was playing with some legit players in high school, and I didn't even really know it. Like, one of the guys got drafted first round, first pick overall. And then I'm thinking, like, I played high school football with this dude.
Well, and that's the thing. It's the mind is such a powerful thing. I mean, how I ended up making was like Tyler Wright was from my hometown. He was drafted to the Oilers, first round, 12th pick overall. And, he'd come back and be like doing 25s, lifting arm curls. And then I'd be doing 45s. And I was like 15 and he was like 21. And then he would put the boxing gloves off, and, we're sparring, and I like cracked him one, almost knocked him out. And I'm like, holy crap. Well, if he's a first rounder, I could play in the NHL. Like, how is he? You know what I mean? So you don't realize that, as Charleston said, you just kind of like, you play with all these guys and you're like, holy crap. You look back and you're like, how did I do that? Or how do you, there's so many people in this world. And, it just comes down to like not giving up and just kind of mentally believing that you belong there, and that, you'll do whatever it takes to kind of stay there. And
is there any moment that stands out, like in your head, anything when you're on the ice and you maybe, or, a game at the Garden or at, on the Forum, or, was there any game where you're kind of just looking around going, man, this is cool, that you think of right off the top of your mind right now that you go, yeah, and what are the moments that stand out, scoring a goal or seeing someone or the rinks or anything like that?
I think it was probably like, coming back to Edmonton and seeing your family and all your friends and, everybody just kind of coming out to watch, and just like realizing, holy crap, like I'm in the NHL. Like, this is so surreal, right? As a kid, you're like, that's what you used to do. And all of a sudden you're there and you're playing, and you're kind of like, but I mean, my whole career was just surreal, right? Just playing with some of the guys like Korea and Forsberg and the Sedin twins. And, when you play on some different teams and like Luongo, you just learn so much from different guys, and Kevin Bieksa and Burrows. And, you just kind of learn the tricks of the trade, where to be on the ice. The ice never changes. And just, I mean, I'll never forget like Daniel Barrera. He used to use the ice as a map. And he's like, Darcy, when you're shooting the puck in the slot, like just bring from the hash marks a foot in on both sides. And that's the inside of both, or, the post on both sides. And then if you go from this hash mark to this hash mark, in the corner, that's the far post. And this is like, it's just crazy how these guys that have success are able to, take it to the next level. And, you get the kind of benefit from being around guys like that and learn this is what it takes. And if you're willing to learn, you're going to have success.
Who were some of the funniest teammates that you can recall, or some of the funniest guys you remember playing?
Oh,
I got a feeling you were a pretty funny guy to play with. Especially because I got this persona about you, right? That you didn't give two fucks about scoring a goal.
Hey, if you seen my game day routine, I'd still be playing. Like, my wife's like, listen, Darcy, it's 5:00. You got to be at the rink. I'm fucking cutting the grass in the backyard, raking the bocce ball court. And I'm like, geez. And I loved to wheel and deal. I was a hustler. Like, every player on the team, I became their agent. So like Alex Burrows, we just said this on this podcast. He was trying to get a stick deal with Warrior and with Bauer. And I acted like the agent. I called both of them, and I knew both of them at the time. And I was like, hey, listen, I'm sorry, but we're going to reject your first offer. And, Vancouver's an A market. I know you have it as a B market, but we want an extra $50,000. Plus I want 6 in the summertime for all my charity for the kids hockey. And we ended up getting it. I still have his contract over here. So for my 40th birthday, like about 10 of the Canucks guys got together, like the Twins and Burrows and Kessler and Bieksa. They just ripped on me. They're like, Tanner Glass. He's like, dude, do you remember this time that Hordy tried to do this and do that? And that's really what the game's all about, man. I mean, life is too short to take anything serious. Like nowadays, obviously there's a lot more money involved, but you got to enjoy it, right? You got to just, money only makes you happy for so long, and you realize there's so much more in life. And, but I mean,
you and Charleston sound very much alike, because I know that Charleston is very much, if you guys get in the same room, that's going to be trouble to be able to do that.
Because the funny part is because I did the same thing he's talking about right now before. Like, I did the agent talk where I had 2 cell phones, and I did it for my own career.
That's great. I mean, we could go back and forth with the story. By the way, I was the hugest football fan. If I could have played football and it wasn't so rough, I used to hit guys in like a hockey player where they're like, no, Darcy, get your head down, drive it through his stomach. I just like try to blow guys up like a body check. And in high school, my coach would be like, dude, listen, like, that's not the way you do it. I'm like, that's the only way I know how to do it. And I'm going to keep doing it. And then, but I love football. I remember Ray Algard and all those guys. Yeah. Narcisse. And oh man, I was such a fan. That was, if I cut my neighbor's grass, he used to take me out to the Rough Rider games. And I'll never forget those days.
Your second choice for a career would have been a football player then. Is that what you're trying to say, Darcy?
Oh, yeah. I would have had.
You'd have missed a hell of a lot of tackles. You out there tackling, trying to check people.
Exactly. Oh, it hurts so much when you have the wrong form. I'm trying to get my kid to be a long snapper. I figure that's probably the best position you can ever do is a long snapper.
They make a lot of money to do nothing.
Oh, isn't it the best? It's like unbelievable. You know who I was just hanging out with in California? He lived in my buddy's neighborhood. And I met him in Nashville. He was doing card tricks.
Yeah, the long snapper from the Eagles.
John, yeah. He was an Eagles guy.
I freaking played with him.
You what?
I played with Philadelphia with him, and he was doing magic tricks, and he barely showed up to practice. He come to practice, snap 3 times, go home. And then pull out, like, he's really, really good at magic.
Oh, like, he's so fun. And I remember the story, like, because I was in Nashville. He came in our locker room, and I love magic too. I grew up with magic, and then all of a sudden, somebody said about America's Got Talent, you got to see this long snapper. So I started to Google when I played in Nashville and when he was there. And then ironically, literally 2 months ago, when I spent a couple of weeks in California, he lives right across from my buddy's house. And I was like, John, you remember this? And he's like, Hordy, oh yeah, I remember this. And yeah, what a crazy, I didn't even know his whole story, but he's a motivational speaker and he's traveling all over the world and he has a book out now.
Yeah, he got sick, right? Like, he got pretty sick after
his heart.
Yeah.
He said he almost died. Yeah, he had no clue. Just went in there and he said, obviously the sports teams missed it for how many years, and he got cured and fixed, and he's on top of the world now.
Yeah, it's a good story about him, and thank God it's on the positive side. And he got the year that he left, I think, to go to the other team that he played for. I forget which one it was, but then the next year the Eagles win the Super Bowl. And, you know, he was there for how many years? And the Eagles actually ended up giving him a ring.
They did. Yes, they did. I remember. Yeah, that's what he told me, that they gave him a ring. That's pretty classy. Yeah, that's
pretty
awesome.
cool. That's pretty cool right there.
Yeah, classy organization.
They didn't want a lawsuit probably against him. That's why they did that.
That reminds me of, hi, how are you doing? What's your name?
Declan. I'm his son.
Declan.
What's up, Declan?
Did you get the feet with the manicure today? Pedicure. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Let me see them. Let me see your feet.
Show him your feet. Show him the soft feet. Where's his feet? Show him the feet. Look how. Oh no, we got the. You gotta show him the soft feet. Look at this.
Oh yeah.
Just smooth.
There you go. You should be able to run fast now.
Yeah. Look at this. My whole family's coming around. Got the wifey here. We got everybody.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
This
I'm his favorite son.
Oh, nice.
That's
What's
the
your
milkman
name?
right there.
Are you guys still in that your place where I came to visit you and with Rob a few years ago? You guys still got that place in Scottsdale?
Yeah. So the house still in DC Ranch, and then some vacation rentals in Greyhawk. Yeah, where Rob has his place. Yeah.
Nice. I forgot to mention that about Charleston. One of the things that Rob told us to bring up with Darce was that he's a magician by Darcy is.
Darcy ain't no damn magician.
Hey, I'll tell you what right now. Hey, write down. Hey, well, I'll get you to write something down, and I'll guess it. This is how crazy. I'm NLP, neurological linguistic programming. I used to specialize in NLP. So it's like basically reading people's body language. And, you know, if you're going across the border and the cops are like, hey, do you have anything in the car? And you're like, no. And your eyes are twitching and, you know, your posture, I could pick you up pretty fast.
I don't believe in that stuff. There's no way anybody gonna be able to read.
You can do this right now, Darcy. You could do this right now to Charleston.
Yeah. So just give him a pen right now. Give him a pen right now.
I got a pen already. I just went and grabbed one.
Oh, dude, wait till you see this. If I need to be sometimes live, but okay, write down your favorite card. Could be any card. Just write it down real fast. Any card.
Got you.
You got it? Just write it down. Okay. Show your buddy over there. Is it Ace of Spades?
Hold on. You didn't show me. You got to turn away. Darcy, you got to turn away. Okay.
Just show him I guessed it.
Huh?
Is it Ace of Spades?
Nope.
Say, you know what? Say that's bad. You're, what is it? Queen of Clubs?
Nope.
Oh, what are you? You're not a diamond guy. Are you a diamond guy?
Nope.
Jeez. Okay. I had you pegged wrong. Somebody in the room was thinking of an Ace of Spades. Maybe it was. Oh my God.
Ace of Hearts.
I knew it was an ace, so I knew you had an ace in you. Hey, not bad. 50-50, right?
50-50. That was
52
good.
cards, and I got them, eh? No. Well, here's the thing. I had it upside down. The way you wrote it, your writing is so bad that I kind of read you're doing it.
Watch, you would have shocked the shit out of Charleston if he would have been.
Yeah, you know what? When he said ace, I was looking at it like, holy shit.
It's too funny.
So after hockey,
if you Google Hordichuk and Magic, you'll see some pretty cool tricks. Actually, I made this is what put me on the map. As we're getting ready to take off, they had to de-ice a plane. And I made, I think it was the 8 of spades show up on the wing of a plane. And ESPN caught it. And they flew in to do a whole Magic thing. So I used to be called Hordini. And yeah, I used to make the puck disappear. I used to make the puck disappear on the ice too. It never went in the net, but somehow it made it disappear.
So obviously we know what you've been doing after. Let's get after hockey, Darce. Let's get a little bit into that, because I know that, like I said, our good friend Rob Peterson, he's always he's been talking to us, and we've been trying to plug it a few times on the show. Can you explain to our viewers, because we got lots of viewers from all over in Canada, we got viewers from the U.S., obviously where Charleston's from in Saginaw, but all over the U.S. and Canada. Explain to us a little bit what you're doing right now in Arizona and Scottsdale with this company called Canada to Arizona.
Yeah, the whole kind of concept, whenever I played with different teams, basically, whenever you'd go and move to a new team, you'd have, okay, here's your team doctor, here's your real estate agent, here's your team accountant. Whenever you need this, make sure you talk to this person. This is your hairdresser. So, just talking to Rob and Miles, fellow Canadians, after a couple of beers in the hot tub, we kind of just thought, how cool would it be just, helping Canadians find a way to get to the US. And, it started out with like 20 pages on Google, and now we're up to 8,000 pages and teamed up with, companies like the Mayo Clinic, and we were with RBC and BMO and the Phoenix Coyotes. And yeah, just kind of the company's evolved. And I myself now have a whole bunch of vacation rentals. So a lot of Canadians rent, my vacation rentals or other people's vacation rentals. Yeah, and we help a ton of Canadians with real estate. Obviously everybody knows a real estate agent in the US, but what we try to do is just do the whole process. If you have to sell, you have to do the FIRPTA, you have to pay tax on this, make sure that you have this, in a LLP, or, in case somebody falls in your pool in the US. It's so different, with Canada and the US. If somebody trips in your house, they can sue you and you can lose everything overnight, right? So we try to explain to the Canadians, hey, get an umbrella. It's $1 million policy. It's going to cost you $300-400 a year, but things like this will help you, obviously, when you make the transition across, protect you, if anything, God forbid, happens when somebody's in your property. And so, yeah, it's kind of cool. I think it's just a way to kind of give back. We don't charge anything for Canadians to be on the site. It's free. We have a travel program where we teamed up with a company to help Canadians, get discounts on travel when they're in the US. It's guaranteed to beat Expedia's prices on flights and hotels and kind of a whole package of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a cool concept that just kind of evolved. And we have Canada TO Arizona and then Canada TO Florida. And basically we have a Facebook, and we're just trying to, just let Canadians, it's network and meet each other while they're down in the US. And, everybody thinks that it's so impossible to buy a condo down in the US or a house. I bought Ryan Smith's condo in Arizona at the venue, where now all of a sudden I have 4 other units, and, able to VRBO and rent these places out and basically have no mortgage on these things because it pays for itself.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice, to kind of have a company like us where, it takes maybe the fear or,
do all the legwork for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're doing the legwork. Yeah. And like I said, it's free to go on the site. How we get paid at the end is, okay, if you use, one of our real estate agents, we'll get a referral. My wife's actually a real estate agent down here. And obviously one of the partners, Miles, Rob's in Canada. So we kind of try to just, use the group of athletes. We got some other hockey players who specialize in other areas that I used to play hockey with. So, but yeah, no, it's fun, and it's kind of our way to give back.
That's awesome. It sounds like a blast. We got one of Charleston's buddies. He just, Derek Dennis used to play O-line on the Stamps and the Riders. He's right now, where is he? Charleston right now? He's in Phoenix?
He's in Phoenix, yeah. I think he's getting a house built like somewhere right outside of Phoenix somewhere, Scottsdale.
I feel like I bumped into him in the venue. He had a big hat. He was training down here. He had a hat with Stampeders on him. And I feel like
that's probably him.
A big boy.
He's in one of the condos. He's a big dude. Yeah. And I was like, hey. I spotted him from a mile away. I'm like, hey, you play in the CFL? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm training down here, used to live wherever. And you know what's funny about this? You meet so many different people when you're renting your condos. You wouldn't believe this, but I got Johnny Manziel living in one of my units right now. Like,
really?
He's the last person I thought in the world that, would be renting from me. And I'm like, hey, Johnny, rents to, where are you? And he's like, I swear in the 5 months that the guy's been at my condo, he's been there probably 5 times. Like on Instagram, I have to track him to find out, okay, he's here, so I'm going to get paid this month, but maybe next month. But we had a kick talking about the CFL. We realized, like, dude, that whole Montreal Alouette, that didn't really go that well. You're like, oh, fuck no, dude. Those guys are like, holy crap. CFL. Like, oh.
He was probably legit the funniest quarterback I've ever played against.
Why was that?
Just Johnny?
Yeah, Johnny Manziel, because he was the only quarterback that I played against who was complimenting himself on throws. So like he'll go through a play, and then I almost have him sacked, and then he'll shake and take off, and then he'll come back to the huddle running back. Hey Hughes, you thought you had me right there, huh? And then I'll just be looking like, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? And then he'll drop back again and throw an out route, complete the ball. Woo! Hughes, you saw that throw? That was a nice throw, wasn't it? And I'm like, is he complimenting himself every play?
Oh, man. See, look at now the kids learn. You just got to compliment yourself if you want to have success. Pump your own tires.
We gotta see if he's gonna be able to compliment himself on paying rent and see. Hey, Darcy, I'm gonna compliment myself. I paid rent this month.
I'm pretty sure he got it too.
Jeez, man.
I want to ask
this guy. You want to follow somebody's life on Instagram. You want to know what heaven looks like. Holy crap. There's a private plane behind every picture and places I've never seen before. Golf course. I'm like, dude, this is, if I sign $100 million deal, I don't think I'd be able to afford that lifestyle. But
that's why I said, I don't know what he do, but he got it.
Well, he's got dad's money from the oil business in Texas. So he's pretty set up there, I think. So
there you go.
Good for him.
I remember walking into a bar in Toronto. He wasn't even in the CFL at this time, but I walked up to a bar in Toronto, and we were playing Toronto, but we went like 2 days early. So I was like, let's go out, go get something to eat. He was at the bar, holding the bar up solo with a tray full of shots. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, is that Johnny Manziel at the bar? Yeah. And I walk up to him close and look, it is. And he got a tray full of shots and just drinking them by himself at the bar. Solo, just tray full of shots.
Oh, that's, man, the life of a professional athlete, eh?
You miss that at all, Darcy, or no?
You know what, Charleston, you could probably relate. You just miss the camaraderie. You miss the guys. You miss the, the game. Once you make it to the, whatever sport you're in, you're like, holy crap, dude, this is a grind. You get a couple days off. You kind of, and it's kind of a little bit of a lonely life, right? Like as a rookie, when you go into these teams or a young guy, everybody's got a wife, everybody's got kids. And here you're like, oh my God, I made it. Like, I can't wait to go hang out with everybody after the game or before the game. And on road trips that happens, but before you're like, holy crap, I'm 22 and everybody's like 30 and has 3 kids or 2 kids. And, it's just a different kind of a lifestyle than everybody imagines, I really, you know what? I knew it was time to be done. And I enjoy now, whatever I hunt, whatever I eat, you kind of got to hunt now. And, Friday, Saturday, Sunday means something to you where when you play, you're like, you're used to making $30,000 every 2 weeks. And you're kind of like, oh, I'm going to go to Disney World. Awesome. Oh, I'm going to stay at the Four Seasons. Oh, I'm going to have a steak dinner. Like you kind of, it's weird. It's boring. It's kind of like, you have no dreams, Now I'm like, okay, kids, we're going to McDonald's. Big day here. Let's go. Daddy's going to give you the super meal.
You got to earn it now.
You got to earn it. Yeah. Who took out the garbage? You get a toy.
So life is treating you all right then right now. You're no regrets. You're living life good in Scottsdale and things are going well.
It's great, man. And you know what? As long as I'm alive and as long as I'm healthy and have a healthy family, I think at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So
very true. I was just talking with Charleston. Next year, we're thinking about, well, obviously Rob's been trying to be able to coax us down to Arizona, and obviously we're going to come and try and see if we can help you out or do a show down there or figure some stuff out there in Arizona.
Awesome. Yeah. Exactly. Bring your viewers. We'll show them another side of the world. When everybody we'll have Rob doing the windshield where he's scraping it and shoveling snow, and then us on the golf course just bombing balls in the bush.
We just want a talent show from you, just a big magic show. A 1 hour set of just magic.
You'll see magic with me on the ice losing the puck.
And we can we'll see what we can do for a lot of stuff. It sounds like Arizona's the place to be at, that's for sure. But we want to see what we also want to know about your connections with the Thunderbirds. And you guys seem to have like a pretty good time over at the Phoenix Open there that time of year. Maybe Charleston and I and some of our viewers should come down for that weekend, because it seems like it's a fairly decent event.
Yeah, it's funny. You know what? Up until now, I didn't even know what a Thunderbird was, and now all of a sudden I'm in this kind of an exclusive group of 55 guys, and
I still don't know what the hell is a Thunderbird?
You know, it's this crazy. You know, when you're in college and it's this underground group where you got to get voted in, you don't know if you get voted in or if you get voted in or how you get voted in. So it's this group. It's like a philanthropist group that basically puts on a golf tournament, and it's been around since 1937. And you got to be 40 years old to get voted in. And somehow I got voted in. I'm the first hockey NHL guy ever voted in this group. They have a lot of professional baseball players in the group. So it's kind of whoever is in the top of their craft out of Arizona. And at each time, you know, there's only 55 guys. So when you turn 45, now your spot opens up and you vote somebody else in. And we just put on the Phoenix Open. So it's the golf tournament. And all the money that's raised, you know, in the 16th hole, the 17th hole, and all these different holes, all the money goes to charity. So last year we gave away 13.2 million. And that's, you know, as the golf tournament grows, the more money goes towards the charity. And the year before was like 12 million. The year before was 11 million. So it's kind of, everybody's like, well, I don't like golf. I said, it's not about golf. It's actually just a party on the golf course, you know? And it's just a crazy group of guys that are all ADHD. JJ Putz, you know, used to play with the Diamondbacks. He's in the group. And Governor Doug Ducey, he's in the group. You know, just a whole bunch of different people, you know, that are in the industry, and yeah, so it's just a fun group, and it's funny how it works is, so say somebody's in charge of the 16th hole, right? Well, I'd be the assistant. Well, when that guy leaves after 1 year, then I now take over the 16th hole and I make it whatever I want to do. So I could change the colors of it. I can make it bigger. So that's why this golf tournament has now become the world's biggest golf tournament. And everybody's in the group is trying to outdo the last guy. So, so it's just this, you know, bunch of egos and guys, like you throw 5 cents on the ground and we're all trying to wrestle for it and trying to outdo each other, you know? But yeah, no, it's been.
Yeah, you bring me in. I'm putting elephants on the 16th hole.
Hey, Tiger, we'll bring out Tiger King. Hey, this could be a whole nother.
I think you just signed us up for the Better with Age webcast to be on the 16th green there for next year's Phoenix Open. We got to figure something out there.
Put a tiger out there.
Hey, you guys. Hey, listen. I don't know if I can afford you guys. Yeah, I heard you're blowing up there in Saskatchewan. So I might have to go through your agent there, Rob, and figure out what it's gonna.
I can give you a number to call.
Yeah. We'll let the agents talk. Both of you guys will be talking to each other, or Rob.
Exactly.
Don't know who's talking with who.
Yeah. This could be our sign from above here that we're gonna do some deals down here.
Yeah. Well, that's good. We appreciate having on, Darcy. I mean, we can go on and talk about, I'm sure, hockey stories and many stories.
I know some inquiring minds want to know what the hell is going on in this picture behind me.
Oh,
Franklin and whatever the other guy's name is. Franklin and who?
Oh yeah. So the one on the right actually is Chandler. He's from Chandler, Arizona, and then Frankie is my other one from Franklin, Tennessee. So it's funny because I grew up with Shih Tzus, and when we were in Vancouver, we were on the 12th floor, and my wife, you know, obviously had our youngest son, and she's just like, "Listen, you've been on the road for like 4 weeks, dude. Like, can we just let your parents have the dogs for, you know, a few weeks until we kind of, you know, season's done?" Well, it's been 9 years, and they still have my dogs. But we since then, we can't get them back. And now my dad's trying to give them back after they're ready to die. I think they got another year in them. And I'm like, no, Dad, just Chandler's 15 now. It's okay. He's your dog. But no, you know what? So that picture was on, like I said, all the porches. It said Hordichuk won't dog it as a tough guy. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to be fighting this year again. Here we go. So
any regrets for fighting anybody? We were like, holy fuck, what am I doing?
Yeah, when you mentioned Chara, I was thinking Chara probably put hands on you because you short compared to Chara.
Well, you can watch that fight and see who won that one. Everybody used to say, well, hey, Darcy, how did you do against that guy? I said, well, you just watch YouTube. You tell me who won that one.
Anybody,
you know what?
Anybody you think about, you're going like, oh, man, that wasn't such a good one.
You know what? Towards my end of my career there, that McGrattan, I kind of from Calgary, I was never ever put down in my career, knock on wood, because I'd always tuck my chin, and it was, obviously hard to hit my chin, but I felt like I had him the whole fight. It was a line brawl. Actually, I think Tanner Glass was on the ice. There was a whole bunch of us guys, and I was just teeing off on him. What I didn't realize, he was waiting for me to tire out and just trying to time one punch. And I didn't realize also that when you hit the helmet, that you could still get knocked down through the helmet and hit your temple. So he put me down on one knee, and I literally was like, holy crap, I've never been put down in my career. And I kind of popped back up like nothing happened. And in the penalty box, I was just losing it. I'm like, we're going next shift. And he's like, dude, calm down. I just dropped you. Calm down. I'm like, I know we're going, dude. We're going, But yeah, so bigger, and he got the best of me there. So, but I mean, every fight you're a little bit, obviously you're nervous because it doesn't matter who you are. You as you see in the UFC, guys like Chuck Liddell that were knocking everybody out, and then all of a sudden you get hit 5 times in a row and you get knocked out. So
yeah.
Grace of God, I made it through it for 13 years. I had a crazy journey, and
that's pretty cool.
Tried to do the right thing, and
Charleston loves this picture of you. Can you see
which
it?
One's that? No, which one's that?
You got a
oh no, you got a nice shiner.
Oh yeah, you know what? That I know which fight with that one was. That was with Sean Thornton. That's Sean Thornton. So how funny is this? Me and Thordy, like Thordy was, I think, ranked maybe 1 or 2 spots above me, but he could hurt you, buddy. So I was just like, okay, it's contract year. I'm just gonna open up, and both of us ended up in the bar. He shows up and he goes, Hordy, he goes, dude, you broke my nose. And I'm like, Hordy, you shut my eye, dude. And it was the first time he had his nose broken, and it was the first time really I had my shiner, but I thought I just wanted to open up, and every once in a while when you knew your contracts due, you got to open up, and sometimes when you open up, you got to take a couple, but yeah, that I don't miss those shiners. Everyone's like, man, don't you wish that you were still playing? I'm like, just imagine going in the parking lot and have 20,000 people around you, and you didn't sleep all afternoon, and now you got to fight the biggest guy on the ice. So I said, no, I don't miss it too much.
The life of NHL enforcer, that's something that's like, like I said, you got to hats off to all of you guys out there. I know that it's always one of those things. I know Charleston's always worried about, football players and getting too many knocks to the head. And as a fighter, you could, you ever have any thoughts? I mean, like you always got to worry about guys like Wade Belak, and you see what happened with Bob Probert, things like that. Does that ever cross your mind, things like that afterwards, or?
You know what? It's like COVID, right? Does that ever cross your mind? If you let it phase you, you're going to die of depression. You're going to die of this. Everybody's going to die sooner or later. So, yeah. I mean, I choose to obviously try to pick my positive thoughts, and I'm sure I'll die of something before that happens. So
always have a positive outlook. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Charleston, you have anything else you want to add to Darts?
I think that's it, man. I know your knuckles probably hurt. You probably bent out of shape. When did you lose your first tooth?
I think it was eating an ice cream on the plane. I think it came out. So Yeah, you know what? No, I didn't take too many in the teeth. Actually, I got 17 fake veneers. Everybody's like, man, your teeth look good. I'm like, they're all fake. But big Steve McIntyre, actually, he didn't knock out my tooth, but he chipped a couple of my teeth. But I got a good dentist.
You guys played together with the Blades, right? Back in the day?
Yeah. So it was crazy. I ended up, talking to Brad McCrimmon. He's like, hey, listen, I got 3 guys on the team that are trying to take your spot. So come to camp. Here's the first guy, Steve McIntyre, 6'5", 255, Dallas Anderson, 6'8", 190 pounds. And then some other guy, some farm dude. So I was like, okay. Me and Mac fought 3 times in preseason. And I'll never forget. They're like, Don, no more, you guys. Good. That's good. And yeah, we both ended up making the team. So it was me and Steve McIntyre as a tough guy.
And
so
Charleston,
nobody messed around with us. And then they finally traded him to Prince Albert, where we got to fight each other basically every time we played again, which was awesome. So
with Charleston, Steve McIntyre was, like Darcy said, a big man, like 6'5", right? I mean, and then
if you go in the dictionary, you look up farm boy tough, and like his belt buckle, like I probably couldn't lift his belt buckle. Like this guy was just like, and it's funny because my buddy was playing in Florida. Like I didn't even know that league existed. And he goes, Darcy, like, Steve McIntyre's playing with us. I'm like, Steve, like the guy I played with? He's like, yeah, he's knocking everybody out. And I was like, oh, fuck, good for him. Nobody's really tough in that league. So then all of a sudden I get a call 2 years later, and my buddy's like, dude, this guy's like in Providence. He's a cop buddy of mine. He's like, you got to watch this guy. You got to YouTube this McIntyre dude. He's knocking everybody out. So I was like, McIntyre. And I see it's Big Steve, and I'm like, holy shoot. Mac is on his way to the NHL. He was knocking out everybody that I was fighting. I'm like, sure enough, boom, he's in the NHL. I'm like, oh no, I got to fight this guy again. So I take his job for the Oilers. He's in Pittsburgh. You can look at this in replay. I'm showing everybody in Edmonton. The only guy I was probably ever scared of in the NHL, like LaRock, I didn't care anybody, was probably Big Mac, because now he's pissed off at me. He's been in the minors making $400 his whole career a month. And now he's finally making money in the NHL. He's like trying to like send me because I took his job in Edmonton. So it's against Pittsburgh. He's protecting Crosby. Everybody's like, hey, Hordy, you going to fight him? And I'm like, well, we'll see how the game goes. Keep him on the ice. He's kind of, not that good of a player. We call that a dodge, basically. So he goes on the ice. I'm like, couldn't sleep all afternoon. I go straight after him. Like, I'm showing everybody how tough I am. Whistle blows. Too many men in the ice. They score a goal. Basically, I never got another shift. I got benched the whole game, and I was like, thank God. That's when I knew there was a God. I'm like, there is a God. Thank God. Because I think he previously just knocked out Ivanis, and he was on this knockout streak where he wasn't like just hurting guys. Like he was knocking them out with both hands. But, we stayed good friends, and actually I haven't talked to him in a while, but, man, much respect for a guy to ride it out and play in some of those places that he played. He'd be a good guy to have on the podcast. I'll tell you what.
Well, I mean, any of the stories that you guys can tell, I mean, it's amazing. And just like I said, just the mentality, just the thought process. It's always good to hear about Charleston's playing days too, and see what he went through and then what they do. What you guys do as athletes are totally different, and it's, we appreciate you coming on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For any of the viewers out there, this is a cool book that helped me in my journey. I don't like to get too philosophical, but I read this book. My buddy said, hey, listen, we're going to do business together. It kind of helped me with my perspective in life, but it's a cool book. It's called The Noticer by Andy Andrews. And it's just about this old man that pops in people's life and just changes their life in perspective in every situation, whether you're getting divorced, whether you're, raising a family. And it's just kind of a cool, easy book. I think I've read 2 books in my life, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and The Noticer. So,
and The Noticer is one that made a difference in your life.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's just right. I mean, Charleston, everything's perspective in life, what the coaches say to you and what you do in an everyday. I mean, you can spin it whatever way you want, you can, the glass is half empty or half full. And I think, when people stop feeling sorry for themselves and saying, oh, I'm a victim, and they change their perspective, I think, life's too short to to look in the past and focus on the negative. There's too many good things out there to focus on. So
yeah,
with that being said, basically cancel your Facebook and don't look at anybody's profile.
Don't be on social media.
Exactly. Get off of social media.
Yeah. Words of wisdom by Darcy Hordichuk.
Words of wisdom. Yes.
And it's funny because the only reason I wasn't on social media, because I learned when Facebook first came out, I'd come to Edmonton and I'd have like 50 people call me up out of the woodwork. Hey, Darcy, hey, I seen you're coming to town. Can I get some tickets? And I was like, click, I'm off Facebook, and I haven't been on Facebook for 15 years because of that. And you learn after your first couple of times, probably that happened to you, Charleston, that you basically paid out more than you played in that game. You're like, oh, I just spent $5,000 on that. Those good friends, but most of the people you bought tickets for weren't even your friends. That's the crazy thing. So
yeah.
You get asked for a few tickets, but we definitely appreciate your time, Darcy. Say hi to the family. We're definitely coming down for a magic show for the Phoenix Open. We're going to come down for a few nights of drinking for Canada, Arizona. Charleston,
Lions and tigers and bears.
we're gonna have to book about. Exactly. We're gonna have to rent out a suite beside Johnny Manziel, and we're gonna have to see what the condo right beside Johnny Does for a while.
Yeah, you guys are always welcome. So,
next time you talk to him, tell him Charleston said, "What's up?"
Yeah,
for sure. Exactly. I'll be like, had I known, I could have just maybe put in my door code and just walked in and be like, Johnny, hey, this guy used to chirp.
Next
Charleston
time
wants to say a few words.
Yeah, next time we'll see if we can get Johnny on the show. So we appreciate it. There's one of the things that we always end off is Charleston's going to say some parting words, but we appreciate your time, and I'll leave it to Charleston to finish off.
Awesome.
So Darcy, what did they used to call you, like, because the hockey names like
Hordy.
Hey Hordy or Horsey? Because I know people always throw Z's at the end of some kind of hockey name.
I like that. I've never Horsies. I've never heard of that one. But yeah. Hey, this could stick here. This could be your nickname for me when you come down to the Phoenix Open.
Oh, Horsey.
I feel dirty. I feel like dirty when you say that. Like, hey, where's Horsies?
The new nickname for Horsies. Yeah. Horsies. All right.
Yeah, but this is the Better with Age webcast. The reason we call it the Better with Age webcast is because there's many things that get better with age. So not just yourself and your magic tricks and your great personality and your good looks, my guy. It's leather, it's cheese, it's whiskey, multiple things that get better with age. But the most important thing of them all is friendships. And I'm glad we met you on this show. Glad we brought you on this show. Can't wait to golf with you. Can't wait to see those Tigers running on hole 16.
I love it.
And all that good stuff. So thanks for coming on the show, man.
Hey, my pleasure. And this is what it's about, the journey. You never know. Every day's a new thing. And remember, boys, after every storm is a rainbow. So focus on the rainbow.
There you go. More words of wisdom by Darcy Hordichuk. There you go. We'll tell Rob you say hi, and we'll be getting together with him hopefully soon for drinks. So take care, Darcy. All the best to you.
Awesome. Okay, thanks you guys.
Yeah.
Remember, you need real estate, call us.
Yeah. CanadaArizona.com.
306-533-3131.
Everybody call up Rob this morning.
Call Rob. Send Rob a text right now. 306-533-3131.
Well, don't go directly to Rob, because then I got to pay him a commission, and then I can't give you a better price. So he's going to want a referral. Just call me directly. Just go to dhordichuk at Hotmail.
There you go. All right. Darcy.
Eliminate the middleman.
Yeah. He's his own agent now, so he's got to do that. So, all right, Darcy, take care.
Cheers, boys. Hopefully this podcast will make me famous. I always want to be famous.